Okay, I gotta put a shirt on really quick. Me and my buddy Bill are gonna show you how to clean a GameCube controller professionally, the right way. Never mind, Bill's gone. He's not here anymore. Alright, this is the perfect controller for this demonstration as it is white. It is a Smash 4 controller and it hasn't been used a whole lot, but it got dirty fast. Bad thing about white is that it shows dirt easily, that stick especially, and in between the halves of the shell. When you play, your hands sweat and then it dries up and it gets in the cracks. So you got to make sure you have everything: your controller, scratch pad or a washcloth or something, and you got to make sure you have all the essentials. And you got to make sure you're looking good too. You know, look good, feel good. You know what I'm saying? Alright, then you gotta get your cleaning agent. Not that. The cleaning agent I am using is Dr. Bronner's Citrus Soap. It is a really good multi-purpose soap, and it's hemp based, and it's really hipster and cool, and I love it. Relieve yourself. Make sure you got nothing else on your mind besides cleaning your most prized possession. Make sure you have everything in front of you. You want to be by a sink. I did it in the bathroom. And you need screwdrivers too. You need a small Phillips screwdriver and also a tri-wing screwdriver. You need a tri-wing because it's what Nintendo products use, and it's really hard to come by, so you'll have to buy it online. They're relatively cheap. I got mine for about $8. I'll leave a link in the description. So you start by unscrewing the back of the controller at the 6 points. Do it in a diagonal fashion so you don't apply the wrong pressure to one side of the controller, and then you just hold it upside down with the buttons facing down and you take the back off. And then you're going to want to take the motherboard out of the front part of the shell. Where I'm pointing, you want to make sure that you unhook the cord from that plastic piece on the inside. And then keep holding it with the buttons facing down, because if you turn it over, that is all going to fall out. And those silicone pieces that the buttons are beneath, do not get those wet. You won't need to clean those, so don't worry about them. And take the Z button off too, it just pops right out. Now you need the Phillips screwdriver, because we're taking out the triggers. Each has 2 screws. You want to keep the left parts with the left parts and the right parts with the right parts, because they are not compatible with both sides. They are exclusive to each side the way that they're cut. I'm using a magnetic screwdriver, as you saw right there. I'd highly recommend that. Screws as small as that can easily get caught in the controller, and if you got some fat fingers, you won't be able to get them out. Those springs just pop out, you push them up, and then you pull them out, and then the triggers just come out too. Now both sides have no buttons or anything in them. You're going to want to get your water ready, hot, mix in your soap or whatever you're using, and then I just completely submerged my controller. And then I got to clean, and I took my scratch pad. If you're using a scratch pad, you're going to want to be really careful not to actually get any scratches on the controller. I just use that where amounts of dirt were heavy. And you can see I got the Q-tips on deck. I used those for where the screw holes were, and in those deep crevices where my fingers would not fit. And then I'm cleaning the buttons as well, just in case. Alright, next I'm cleaning these on the motherboard, where the sticks go. I wouldn't recommend getting them wet. I was trying to blow the dirt out of there. There wasn't very much, but a can of compressed air would be extremely useful in that situation. So now I'm just letting my stuff dry. Once again, you don't want to get those silicone pieces wet. That's what carries the electronic signal from the buttons to the motherboard. No, no, no. Don't get the motherboard wet. And then next I'm cleaning the cord. You typically won't have to clean the cord, but since this was white, it had a little bit of dirt on it. So I was like, why not? Once again, be really careful not to get it wet. Alright, we are back 24 hours later, all clean and showered, good to go. Now it's just putting it back together. Put it back together the way you took it apart. All the buttons go in there. You're going to want to put the sticks back on the motherboard. It's pretty self-explanatory. You do it once, you won't ever forget how to do it again. Then you put those silicone pieces on top of the buttons, and then the motherboard pops right up on top of there. You're going to want to make sure it's pressed all the way down so that it'll fit. Especially that one I point to. That one's a real stickler. So once it's all the way down there, you're going to want to push. See, that popped out again. You're going to want to push the cord onto that little plastic piece all the way down. Then put the triggers back in. The triggers just go in from the inside. Put the springs back in. It's probably the hardest part. You just kind of push it up, fiddle it around, and then let it sit in that slot. And then I can't stress this enough. Always test the triggers. Always test them. And then those black pieces go back on. Screw them on. And then test the triggers again. Test to make sure that they go all the way down, because I've had it happen so many times where I put a controller all the way back together, and for some odd reason the triggers won't go all the way down just because of the way that I put it together, and it's a real pain. So test it often. And then the Z button goes into the front part of the controller, self-explanatory, although I don't show it. Then just snap the back on there, test the triggers again, and in my case it was good to go on the first run. So you're good to go. And just screw it back together. Like I said, before you start this process, you're going to want to make sure all your parts are dry. Recommend letting them sit for 24 hours. You can put your tools away, and now you just got to test it out. Make sure your tech skill is crisp and smooth, and you're good to go. If there was anything I didn't cover or anything that wasn't explained well enough, feel free to let me know in the comments. I will try my best to help you out. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.